Chapter 4365. Before the steward could speak, Feng Xiao, who was walking behind him, quickly stopped him. Father, if you run to the city gate and wait, the people in the city who don't know will think that something has happened. You just wait at home. When they arrive, they will naturally come home. I'll be waiting at home and waiting outside. If I go outside, I'll be able to see them faster. Also, they brought 3 children back. I don't know if they could take care of them. Feng Sanyuan said, feeling a bit worried. After all, Feng Girl's twin children weren't even 3 years old yet. Adding on if these 3 children were to run around, how could they take care of them? In my opinion, just let them go. Sushi walked out from behind with a smile on her face, saying, it's not like you don't know your father's temperament. If he knows that Feng Girl is back, can he still sit at home? Just let him wait at the city gate. But Feng Xiao was a bit hesitant. What's there to but? Feng Girl's return is a good thing. It's not like it's something shameful. That's why I said we can't let the people in the city know. All right, let's leave it at that. You look after the manor. I'll go to the city gate and wait for them, Feng Sanyuan said. Without waiting for Feng Xiao to say anything else, his figure flashed and rushed outside. Father, Feng Xiao called out. Sushi smiled and said, let him go. I'll go to the kitchen to take a look. Saying this, she turned and left. When the people in the city saw Feng Sanyuan arrive at the city gate, they all had astonishment on their faces. This old Master Feng's cultivation was getting stronger and stronger. His current appearance was also the same as when he was at his peak. He looked even younger than the Feng family's head, Feng Xiao. Normally, he rarely went out. Why did he come to the city gate now? Old Master Feng, why did you go out today? A middle-aged man greeted with a smile. Ha, today's a good day, so I came out for a walk. Feng Sanyuan laughed in a clear voice. After arriving at the city gate, he didn't leave. He just walked around the city gate. The city guards guarding the city gate couldn't help but become nervous. Old Master, what's the matter? The captain of the city guards hurried to his side when he saw him. It's fine. You guys do what you need to do. Don't worry about me. Feng Sanyuan waved his hand, indicating for them to ignore him. Yes. The captain of the city guards replied. He could only signal with his eyes for the city guards to stand properly and not make any mistakes. Sanyuan, what are you doing here so early in the morning? Gung family's old man was preparing to go outside the city early in the morning to stretch his muscles. Unexpectedly, he saw Feng Sanyuan walking back and forth at the city gate. He was looking around as if he was waiting for someone. When Feng Sanyuan heard this voice, he glanced at him and said, why are you here so early in the morning? Ha, don't you know? Recently, I've been meeting a few old friends outside the city every morning to talk about cultivation. I usually go in the morning and come back at noon. Old man Gung smiled and said, do you have nothing better to do? Do you want to join the fun with me? Not going. What's there to talk about with you? You can't beat me. Feng Sanyuan proudly raised his chin. His eyes were full of smiles. Chapter 4366. Hearing his question, Feng Sanyuan glanced around. Then, he stepped forward and put his arm around Old Man Gung's shoulder. He whispered in Old Man Gung's ear, I only told you because I saw it was you. Little Feng and the others are coming back. I'm waiting for them here. Oh, they're coming back? Old Man Gung was very happy when he heard this. Speaking of which, I haven't seen them for many years. Yes, last night, when I heard that they would be here today, I came to the city gate early in the morning to wait for them. Let me tell you, you still don't know that they gave birth to a pair of twins, right? They're almost 3 years old. I heard from little Feng that they're very cute. When Feng Sanyuan talked about this, he was like an old urchin. His eyes were full of excitement. This kind of thing made him happy and proud. He wanted to share with everyone. After all, the happier something was, the happier it was to share it with others. Since they're coming back this time, let them stay longer so that the children can accompany you. Old Man Gung said and patted his shoulder. I won't get involved with you. Today is their first day back. You should have a good family gathering. In a few days, I'll visit your house again. Okay, no problem. You still have things to do. Go ahead. I'll be waiting here. Feng Sanyuan said and patted his shoulder. Come home in a few days. I'll prepare some good wine for you. Ha, okay. Old Man Gung cupped his hands and stepped out of the city gate. Fengjiu and the others in Peach Blossom Cove had a good rest and got up early in the morning. They also knew that they told their families last night that they would be looking forward to their return early today. So, they didn't want to stay up too late. Early in the morning, they sat on the purple gold spirit deer and went to the city. Lung Hua drove the carriage while Qi Kong and the others followed beside the spirit deer. Before they arrived at the city gate, they saw a familiar figure looking around from afar. When Fengjiu saw the figure, he smiled and said to the three children, "Look, your great-grandfather is waiting for us there." "Where? Where?" Yu-er, who was originally leaning against the window, hurriedly asked. Looking towards the direction her mother was pointing at, she didn't see any old man with shining white beard, so she couldn't help but ask in confusion, "Mother, where is great-grandfather?" Yu-er didn't see anything. "Little sister, the one in front wearing a green robe, is great-grandfather." How pointed out for her to make it easier for her to recognize. He looks so young. He doesn't look like great-grandpa. Doesn't great-grandpa have a white beard?" she asked doubtfully. "He's your great-grandfather. No mistake." Fengjiu chuckled, seeing her grandfather waiting for them to come back. His heart could not help but warm. When Feng Sanyuan saw the familiar spirit deer carriage, he couldn't help but show a happy smile. "Ha ha! It's here, it's here, it's here." He waved his hand and shouted. The spirit deer carriage approached from afar. When it arrived at the city gate, the spirit deer carriage also stopped. Fengjiu got off first. Seeing the familiar grandfather, he couldn't help but walk forward and hug him. "Grandfather, I'm back." Chapter 43-67. Are these two little guys Mu Chun and Mu Yu? He couldn't help but quickly stepped forward and came to the side of the spirit deer carriage. "Great-grandfather." The two little guys softly called out and showed him a sweet smile. Good, very good. Quickly let great-grandfather take a good look at you." Feng Sanyuan picked up one in each hand and hugged the two chubby little guys in his arms. At the same time, he said to Fengjiu, "You are quite heavy, Time flew by so quickly. You're already so big." Great-grandfather. Howard also poked his head out and looked at him. You have also grown a lot taller, but why are you so thin? Did you not eat?" It's fine. Great-grandfather has already asked the kitchen to make your favorite dishes," Feng Sanyuan said with a smile. Looking at these three great-grandchildren, he was very happy in his heart. "Thank you, great-grandfather." Howard's face showed a smile, and his eyes were full of joy. "Grandfather." Xinyuan Mose came down from the spirit deer carriage and saluted him. It's good that you're back." Feng Sanyuan smiled and nodded. "Grandfather, these two little guys are heavy. Put them down and let them walk on their own," Fengjiu said and looked at the two children in his arms. "Great-grandfather, Chen-er can walk on his own," the little guy said. "Yu-er can also walk on her own, great-grandfather." Yu-er also quickly said. Good. Then great-grandfather will hold your hands and walk, okay?" Feng Sanyuan said with a smile and put them down. Holding one in each hand, he said, Go. The family is waiting for you." "Howard come." Fengjiu stretched out his hand towards Howard and said, "We will follow great-grandfather back." She knew her grandfather's personality. Now that he was holding his two great-grandsons' hands, he was so happy that he couldn't wait for the whole city to share his joy and let them see his two great-grandsons. Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu held Howard's hand and followed behind Feng Sanyuan. They watched as he held a child in each hand. When he met someone familiar, he smiled and greeted them. He happily introduced them to them. "This is my great-grandson, Feng girl's children. They are a pair of twins." Old master, this pair of children is really good-looking." Ha. Of course, they are Feng girl and Mo's children. Of course they are good-looking. It's eldest Miss Feng's child? I didn't expect the child to have grown so big in just a few years. He's really growing up." The people on the road kept praising them. Looking at the two identical and well-behaved children, they liked them very much. "Look at that little face, it's so pretty. Old master, you're so lucky to have such a pair of adorable great-grandsons." Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu held Howard's hand and watched from behind. They watched as all the familiar people they met along the way introduced them to the pair of children they were holding with a smile. Howard followed behind and watched. Although his parents were holding his hand, when he heard those people say that his younger brother and sister looked like his parents, he couldn't help but hold their hands tightly. He wasn't his parents' biological child. He didn't look like them. If only he was his parents' biological child. Chapter 43:68. Hearing this, he raised his head and looked at his mother. Seeing the smile and doting in her eyes, his heart warmed and he solemnly nodded. Howard will protect my younger siblings. Howard is so obedient. Fengjiu praised while leading him forward. Behind them, the spirit, Deer Carriage, and Chi Kong and the others unhurriedly followed. Looking at them in front, their faces overflowed with smiles. Because they walked back to Feng residence, it could be said that on this day, everyone in the city knew that they had returned. Even some people from aristocratic families came out to see them after hearing the news. They're here, they're here. Yi Jing held the child's hand and looked at the group of people coming from afar. Her face was full of excitement. Ever since they got married, they settled here. It's just that Guan Shilin would occasionally go out. This time, he was invited by the black market and had yet to return. If he knew that Feng Jiu and the others had returned, he would be very happy. The two children who were led by Feng, San Yuan, saw so many people in front of the door. Yuer couldn't help but blink. She looked up and curiously asked, "Great-grandfather, who are they?" "Ha ha ha ha. Come. Great-grandfather will tell you who they are one by one," Feng San Yuan said with a smile and led the two forward. However, before he could speak, Wan Rong and Su Shi impatiently stepped forward. "This is Mu Chun and Mu Yu, right? AI, they look so cute. Look at their eyebrows. They look so much like their mother." Wan Rong picked up Yu and looked at Mu Chun. Her eyes were full of joy. "Their little faces are so handsome, ah. They really look like their parents," Su Shi also said with a smile. She touched Mu Chin's pink and tender face and hugged him tightly in her arms. When had the two little fellows ever encountered such enthusiasm? Being hugged and kissed and touched by them, the two little fellows couldn't help but flatten their little mouths. They stretched out their hands towards Feng Jiu and shouted, Mother! Seeing this scene, Feng Jiu couldn't help but chuckle. "It's fine. That's your grandmother and great-grandmother. They kissed you because they like you. Don't be afraid." Feng San Yuan saw that the two children were about to cry from fright. He quickly stepped forward and said, All right. Look at you. You've scared the two children. Come. Great-grandpa will hug you." He reached out his hands to hug the two of them, but the two of them took a step back to avoid him. "Let us hug you. Be good. Don't be afraid. I won't kiss you guys anymore. The two of them carried the children and walked inside. As they coaxed the two children, they took out some toys for them to play with. Seeing the two children's faces change from pouting at the beginning to surprise and happiness at the end, Xin Yuan Mose couldn't help but secretly shake his head and reveal a helpless smile. These two children were really easy to coax. That wouldn't do. It wouldn't be good if she was easily coaxed away. I'll have to remind them again when I get back. Unless it's a close family member, they can't take or eat anything from strangers. Yi Jing. Feng Jiu stepped forward and hugged her after not seeing her for a long time. He asked with a smile, "Your complexion looks good. It seems that you've been living well here these past few years. By the way, where's my brother?" Feng Jiu asked. Chapter 43:69. Aunt Jiu. The child looked at Feng Jiu curiously and obediently called out to his mother. "Good boy." Feng Jiu replied with a smile. She patted the child's head and took out a night-luminescent pearl from her space and handed it to him. "This pearl is for you to play with. Aunt Jiu will give you some good things later. The child is still young. It's not suitable for him to hold this. Quickly put it away," Yi Jing said and pushed the night-luminescent pearl back to her. "Why are you being so courteous with me?" Feng Jiu raised her eyebrows and looked at her. She smiled and said, "Isn't it just a pearl? It's not something expensive. Come, take it. This is not a meeting gift. I'll give you a meeting gift later." She chuckled and gently scratched the child's nose. She said, Yi Jing, this child looks like my brother. Look at his appearance. It's as if he came out of the same mold. Quickly thank Aunt Gio. Yi Jing saw that she couldn't refuse, so she could only let the child take it and let him thank her quickly. Thank you, Aunt Gio. The child smiled happily and took the pearl to play with it curiously. They all say that he looks like his father. Needless to say, he's his child. Yi Jing smiled and said, "Go in first. Let's talk inside. Don't stand here. Come, however, go in. Your great-grandfather asked the kitchen to prepare your favorite food early. He even dug out the little toys you used to play with." How? Er's eyes lit up when he heard that. He said to Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu, "Daddy, Mommy, I'll go in first. Bring the little brother along." Fengjiu said and looked at the dignified little boy beside him. She couldn't help but smile when she saw that the little boy's face was similar to Guan Shilin's. Her brother's son looked dignified and was really cute. Yimingo, go in with brother, How, and play with your younger brothers and sisters. Yi Jing gestured for her son to come forward. Yes, yes. The little boy wasn't afraid of strangers and followed Howard eagerly. This brat is so dignified. He's so cute. Fengjiu couldn't help smiling when he saw the little girl and Howard grinning from ear to ear. Very naughty. Come, let's go in and chat. Yi Jing held her hand and walked inside. She smiled and said, "Your father specially went to move those children's toys and brought them all to the front yard. He said that he would let the children pick what they liked. He's probably still busy inside. I was wondering why I didn't see him." Fengjiu chuckled and chatted with her as they walked inside. Xinyuan Mose walked at the back. Behind him, Qi Kong and the others also walked inside. When they saw familiar people, they all went up to greet them. The entire Feng Manor was filled with a lively and joyous atmosphere. The people outside the manor watched from a distance. They were curious and joyful as they discussed. When Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu arrived inside, they saw Feng Sanyuan and Feng Xiao standing to the side and helping the children eat. Su Shi and Wan Rong were busy feeding the children. Seeing the little ones' mouths bulging like little squirrels, Fengjiu couldn't help but shake his head and helplessly smile. She walked over to her father and said with a smile, "Daddy, I'm back." Chapter 4370. Fengjiu sighed and said, "I was worried that you wouldn't be able to sleep if I told you. I want to tell you before coming over in the morning, but I was afraid that you would be flustered. It's fine, it's fine. Don't talk about not sleeping for one night. It's fine even if we don't sleep for 10 days or half a month. Don't make a fuss." Feng Sanyuan waved his hand and said, "Little Feng, it's fine if your grandmother and the others accompany the children here. We haven't sat down and had a good drink in a long time. Mose, let's go inside and have a few drinks." Xinyuan Mose and Fengjiu looked at each other and nodded with a smile. Okay. Then, they followed him inside with Yi Jing and Feng Xiao. After they sat down, Feng Xiao asked someone to serve the dishes. Yi Jing took the wine pot and poured a cup for them. "Sai, when you were fighting the Black Lotus Lord, we knew, but we couldn't help. We're really ashamed. Fortunately, you all recovered later. Otherwise, we would feel uneasy," Feng Sanyuan said as he picked up some food for Fengjiu. "Grandfather, don't mention the past anymore. Besides, we're all fine now, aren't we?" Fengjiu said with a smile. Looking at the bowl full of her favorite dishes, the smile on his face deepened. Even if she hadn't come back for a few years, they still remembered her favorite dishes. Right. Come, let's drink and eat. They came back today, so let's talk about happy things. Let's not talk about the past anymore," Feng Xiao said, then said to Xinyuan Mose, "Come, Mose, let's eat." Xinyuan Mose made a sound of acknowledgement, then picked up some food to eat. "By the way, have you brought the children to see the in-laws?" Feng Sanyuan asked. "Not yet." Fengjiu took a sip of wine and said, "After we came back, we went to Peach Blossom Cove first. We planned to stay there for a day or two, but we wanted to rest well before coming back. Then we met Howard there, so we only stayed for a day. Let's stay here for a while. After a while, Mose and I will go back with the children and stay there for a while. We have to go back and stay for a few days. If the in-laws see the two children, they will definitely be very happy," Feng Sanyuan said with a smile. At the table, they drank and chatted. They talked about the things they had encountered over the years and the interesting stories of the two children growing up, until a few children rushed in from outside. Father, mother, mother. A few children trotted in and came to their side. Their small faces were filled with joy. Mother, Brother Yiming is so amazing. He eats a lot. Yu blinked her beautiful eyes and said to Fengjiu in surprise in her soft voice. As she spoke, she gestured with her small hands. Mother, this is the small wooden sword brother gave me. Mu Chun took out a new small wooden sword and handed it to Fengjiu to look at. Guan Yiming, on the other hand, lay beside Yi Jing and stared at Mu Chun and Mu Yu's identical little faces. After a while, he looked up at his mother and said, Mother, you should also give birth to a pair of identical little brothers and sisters for me. I also want younger siblings like them. Chapter 43:71. Chun, and you are also your younger siblings. Besides, don't they also call you Brother Yiming? Fengjiu chuckled as she looked at the dignified Guan Yiming. Guan Yiming blinked and looked at Mu Chun and Mu Yu, then at his mother and Fengjiu. He didn't speak for a long time and just laughed foolishly. On this day, the long-separated family had a good reunion. The children played together for the whole day. It wasn't until nightfall that Feng Sanyuan let them go back to rest early. A few days later, when Fengjiu was chatting with her mother and grandmother in the courtyard, she saw the dignified Guan Yiming running in excitedly. Anjiu, my father is back. Fengjiu smiled. Oh, your father is back? Where is he? At home. He said he'll come over after bathing and changing his clothes. Guan Yiming looked left and right and asked, Anjiu, where Brother Chun and Sister Yu they and how, or were called by their grandfather and great-grandfather. They're probably at the martial arts field. Fengjiu chuckled. I'll go play with them. The little guy said and ran away. It's great that the children are together, Sushi said with a smile. She thought of her son and couldn't help but sigh. It would be great if Yi came back too. Fengjiu chuckled. Grandmother, little uncle is cultivating under his master. That place is quiet and without disputes. It's also a good thing. When they leave the mountain in the future, they will naturally come back. She smiled and said, At that time, if grandmother can't bear to part with little uncle, let him stay at home with you for a while. If little uncle wants to go to the academy to study or enter a sect, I can also arrange it for him. Sushi smiled and said, We'll talk about this later. There's no hurry. By the way, Xiaojiu, when do you plan to bring the children to see their grandfather? Wanrong asked. Let's stay here for a while first. Zhe has already sent a message back and told his father that they are here now. He also told him that we will stay here for a while before going over, so we're not in a hurry to go over there. Besides, it's convenient to go there now. We only need a transmission array to get there, and it won't take long to go back and forth. Fengjiu chuckled. Compared to the other side, she naturally preferred to live here, so she wanted to stay here for a while before going over. What do you plan to live in the future? There's nothing else to do now. You become the lords of heaven and earth and are so powerful. Ordinary people won't make trouble for you. The sovereigns of the other heavens and earth are also on good terms with you. Only the Devil Master who obtained the Black Lotus is left. What do you plan to do about this? Wanrong looked at her and asked. She was also worried about this matter. Actually, Immerse and I plan to bring the children back and hand them over to you to take care of. Then we'll go find the Devil Master to resolve this matter. The longer this matter drags on, the harder it will be to deal with it. Previously, my strength had not recovered and I had many things to do. Now, the other things are more or less arranged. We just need to deal with the Devil Master and take back the Black Lotus to purify. As she spoke, her voice paused and she smiled. But this matter is easier said than done. Chapter 43:72. Grandmother, Mother, I'm going to my brother's residence. If the children are looking for me, tell them that I'll be back soon. She stood up and said to the two of them, Okay, go ahead. The children are accompanied by your grandfather and the others, so they won't be coming for a while. You two brothers have been separated for a long time. It's rare for you two to meet, so you should have a good chat. Sushi said with a smile. Thus, Feng Jiu bowed to the two of them and walked out of the residence, arriving at the Guan residence. When Yi Jing heard the housekeeper say that she was here, she came out to welcome her. She smiled and said, "Your brother is travel-worn. I told him to take a bath first before going to see you. I didn't expect you to come. Come, let's sit inside for a while." Yiming went over to talk about it. It just so happens that there's nothing much to do. The children are also with Grandpa and the others, so I came over to sit. As Feng Jiu spoke, she walked towards the front hall with her. Yi Jing instructed the housekeeper to tell Guan Shilin that Feng Jiu was here. She then chatted with Feng Jiu in the hall. After bathing, Guan Shilin strode out of the room and saw the housekeeper waiting outside the courtyard. When he approached, he heard that Feng Jiu and Yi Jing were in the front hall, so he went straight to the front hall. Before he reached the hall, he heard laughter coming from inside. He strode in and couldn't help but smile when he saw the familiar red figure. "Xiao Jiu, you're finally back, brother." Feng Jiu stood up and said, "I've been back for a few days. When I heard that you were back, I wanted to come over and have a chat with you." "Ha ha 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 ha, good, good, good. Sit, sit." Guan Shilin laughed loudly and gestured for her to sit down. He then sat beside her and looked at her. When he saw her current strength, he couldn't help but smile and say, "It seems that you've recovered your strength. That's good. We can rest assured. You two can continue chatting. I'll go to the kitchen to make something for you two to eat," Yi Jing said with a smile. She stood up and walked out, giving the two of them some space to talk. "You don't have to be too busy. Just check if there are any pastries and snacks in the kitchen," Guan Shilin said with a smile. "I know. You guys continue chatting." Yi Jing smiled and nodded at Feng Jiu before walking out. Seeing this, Feng Jiu smiled and said, "My strength has been restored, and I've been idle recently. I've been staying at home to accompany my children. You, on the other hand, have become a busy person after not seeing you for so long. I heard that the black market is looking for you to help them with something?" That's right. The black market asked me to go over and help them. It's not a big deal. Once the matter was settled, I heard that you came back, so I hurried back. Now that you're back, you don't plan to leave, right? There shouldn't be anything important to deal with now, right? We'll be staying here mainly because of the two children. We plan to." She told him her plan. "Originally, it was like that. That's good too. It's safer for the two children to stay here. You don't know this, but after living here for a few years, I've realized that it's more peaceful and comfortable than here. So look at me now. Unless there's something special, I usually don't leave this place for too long. Moreover, Yi Jing and the children are here, so I can't bear to go too far." At this point, Guan Shilin revealed a smile. His smile exuded a sense of happiness, and anyone who saw it would be able to feel his happiness. Chapter 4373. Where the family was, that was where the home was. Where the home was, that was where the heart would be at ease. The brother and sister had not been together for a long time. The two chatted for a while and forgot about the time until the children came to find them. Come, come, Aunt Jiu and my father are in the front hall." Guan Yiming felt as if he was in his own territory. He walked in front and took care of Mu Chun and Mu Yu, who were younger than him. "Brother Chen let brother Hao hold your hand. I will hold sister Yu so that she won't fall." The little guy said and held Yu-er's little hand with a simple and honest smile on his face. "I will take you to see my father. Let me tell you, my father is very powerful." When the little guy heard this, he hurriedly said, "Yu-er's father is the most powerful. My father is also amazing. My father can move very, very big stones. Moreover, my father can lift me up high," Guan Yiming said proudly. However, when they heard this, not only Yu was stunned, even Chen was at a loss. The two twins looked at each other as if they had a tacit understanding. Yu curiously asked, "Brother Yiming, what is lifting high?" The little guy seemed to have not expected that they would ask this. For a moment, he was also stunned and asked, "Have you never played lifting high?" "No." Yu shook her head and softly said, "My father doesn't know how to raise high, and he also doesn't know how to move big stones." She had never seen her father move big stones. Moreover, why would one move big stones? Then my father is more powerful. Guan Yiming smiled happily and said, in a while, let my father lift you up high. It will be very fun. Let's go, he said, and led you, to the front hall. Feng Jiu and Guan Shilin were chatting in the hall. With the strength of the two of them, even if they did not deliberately listen, they could still hear the children outside. They looked at each other and smiled. Then the children came in together. Father. Guan Yiming rushed forward and looked at Feng Jiu. He called out, Aunt Jiu, why are you guys here? Feng Jiu chuckled as he rubbed Yiming's head. We missed Mother, so we came to look for Mother. You were said while looking at Guan Shilin from time to time. Howard greets Uncle. How? Stepped forward and bowed, then looked at Feng Jiu. Mother. Feng Jiu smiled and nodded. Guan Shilin laughed heartily. Howard has also grown a lot taller. Come here. Uncle, take a look. He beckoned for him to come forward. Howard walked up to his side. Why are you so skinny? Are you being picky? Guan Shilin asked. Looking at the young boy's cold aura, he could not help but raise his eyebrows. The little guy had grown taller, but he was not as strong as before. 2 years ago, his aura was not as cold as this. It's probably because he's been busy cultivating and tired, so he's lost weight. I'll let him stay here with us for a while and take good care of his body. As she spoke, she looked at Mu Chun and Mu Yu and said, You two, hurry up and greet your uncle. Mu Chun, Mu Yu, greetings, uncle. The two little guys said at the same time. Chapter 4374. Uncle gave it to you, take it. Feng Jiu said with a smile. Take it. Your brother used to have one too. Guan Shilin smiled and looked at Howard. Thank you, uncle. The two little guys reached out to take the gifts and kept them properly. Then, Ewer blinked her eyes and looked at her uncle, who was stronger than her father. She asked curiously, Uncle, what do you mean by lifting him up high? Brother Yiming said that you will lift him up high. Ha! Come. Uncle will tell you what it means to be lifted up high. Guan Shilin laughed happily, and his laughter filled the hall. He stood up and went forward to pick up the little one and lifted him up high above his head. This is what it means to be lifted up high. Is it fun? Guan Shilin asked with a smile. Ha that you're giggled. From being carried up to being lifted up to the top, and again coming down, and then being lifted up again, this up and down was very amusing to her. Even if she didn't say it, from that happy laughter of hers, one could tell. It's fun, uncle, it's fun. How? Looked at this scene, and a smile appeared on his little face. Mu Chen's eyes widened as he looked at her with a look of disbelief. So this is what it means to be lifted up high. He didn't think much of it. Mu Chen, do you want to play? Guan Shilin put Ewer down and turned to ask little Mu Chen, who was standing beside Feng Jiu. No. Mu Chen shook his head and lay in his mother's arms. Ha! This kid's character is the same as Hao Er's, just like their father. Guan Shilin laughed and looked at the children. He said to Feng Jiu, now that there are a few children accompanying us, it's much livelier. Yes, it's like fighting in a ring every day at home, especially my grandfather, who takes them everywhere to play. It's only been a few days since we came back, but I guess all the familiar aristocratic families in the city have already visited us. Feng Jiu smiled helplessly and looked at the children with doting eyes. The kids are here too? Why don't we eat here today? Yi Jing walked in with a tray in her hands. On the tray were 2 plates of exquisite desserts. Of course not. You know that my mother and grandmother have been telling the kitchen to cook this and that. They also said that Hao is too thin and needs more nourishment. They cook delicious food every day. Feng Jiu said, my brother is back today. Let's go eat together. Let's have a good gathering. That's good too. It's been a long time since we got together. Let's go over there and eat. You don't have to prepare anything at home. Guan Shilin said with a smile and told Yi Jing. When Yi Jing saw this, she only smiled and did not say anything. After sitting there for a while, Feng Jiu brought the children back to the Feng Manor. Upon entering, he saw Lung Hua walk over. Master, he called out, but did not say anything. He only looked at the children with a gentle smile on his face. Hao taken to find your father. Mother will be there in a while. Feng Jiu said to Hao, and let him bring the children in first. Okay. Hao nodded and led them in first. After they left, Fengjiu asked, "What's wrong?" "Du Fan is back." "Oh? Where is he?" Fengjiu asked. "In the pavilion in front." Chapter 43:75. Du Fan walked slowly in the pavilion with his hands behind his back. When he saw Fengjiu coming, he walked forward and called out, "Master, sit down and talk." Fengjiu gestured and sat down with him in the pavilion. Then he asked, "How did it go?" "When I arrived there, I personally told Monarch Black Tortoise that Hauer was staying here. He asked me to stay there for a few days, so I stayed there. At the same time, I secretly inquired about Hauer's situation over there these few years." Du Fan paused and continued. "Monarch Black Tortoise and his wife have another child. He's almost 3 years old. It's a boy and they like him very much. Although Hauer went back these few years, he was raised here by Master and the Yama Lord. When he went back, he was sensible. Although he was close to them, he was not as close as he was to Master and the Yama Lord. In addition, Hauer's personality is similar to that of the Yama Lord since he was young. Therefore, as time passed and they had a younger son, they did not care about Hauer as much as before. However, they did not treat him badly in terms of food and accommodation. They just neglected him a little. As a result, he buried himself in cultivation all day long and became colder and colder. As Du Fan spoke, he looked at Fengjiu, who was frowning slightly, and said, "Master, according to what I heard, Monarch Black Tortoise and his wife did not treat Hauer badly. However, he was not raised by them since he was young, so there would be a sense of unfamiliarity. In addition, they had a younger son who was raised by them. In comparison, there would naturally be a difference in closeness after a long time. Hauer was a sensitive child since he was young, so he should be aware of this." After saying these words, he did not say anything more. He just looked at her and let her make her own decision. To the Black Tortoise Monarch and the others, Hauer was their biological son after all. Naturally, they would not say that they had mistreated him or that their subordinates had bullied their masters. However, the kindness of raising him was greater than the kindness of giving birth to him. Hauer was brought up by their master and the Yama Lord. Naturally, he would be more dependent and close to them. Naturally, he could not treat his biological parents the same way as his master and the Yama Lord. If the child was like this, the parents would gradually lose interest in him after a long time. With another son by their side, they would naturally lose interest in him. This was not their fault. "All right, I got it. You just come back. Have a good rest," Fengjiu said as he got up and slowly walked away. It was enough to know that Hauer was not bullied there. As for the rest, since he was unhappy at his father's place, she would bring him over to her side. It just so happened that the children would have company. After making up her mind, she planned to talk to Immerse at night and let him talk to the Black Tortoise Monarch. She believed that the other party would agree with their decision. At night, because of Guan Shilin's return, everyone gathered again. They had not seen each other for a long time and seemed to have endless topics to talk about. After half a month of peaceful and warm days, Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu took the 3 children and said goodbye to Feng Sanyuan and the others. They only took Lung Shuang, Lung Hua, Hui Lang, Ying Yi, and a few others with them. They left through the teleportation array and headed to the Empire. As early as when he knew that they had returned with the 2 children, the Xianyuan monarch had been waiting for them. If it was not because he had to deal with the Empire's affairs, he would have wanted to go to the Feng family to see his 2 grandsons. Chapter 43:76. Mother, does Grandpa live in such a big place by himself? Yuer looked at the magnificent palace curiously and excitedly. There are many people here, not just your grandpa. Fengjiu smiled and rubbed her little head. He held her little hand and walked forward slowly beside Xianyuan Mose. It was a familiar place. Thinking about it, it had been a long time since he came here. This place was still the same. It was different from the Feng family's place. In this palace, power and authority were the rulers. Hauer had been here before and was no stranger to this place. In addition, his biological father's palace was even more magnificent. Therefore, he didn't feel anything when he came here. Mu Chan was young and knew that this palace was where his grandpa lived. It was also where his daddy used to live. Therefore, he looked around curiously. Their family walked in the front, while Lung Shuang, Lung Hua, and Grey Wolf walked behind them. As they walked along the road, the guards and maids in the palace all bowed and saluted them when they saw them. Some clever ones had already entered the palace and reported the news of their return. Monarch, Monarch, His Highness and the others are back. The monarch of Xianyuan Kingdom, who had just sat down, immediately stood up. His eyes were filled with excitement and joy. They're back. Where are they? They are coming to this palace, the guard reported. Hearing this, he immediately walked out. When he arrived outside, he saw 3 children walking in front of him from afar. One of them was a little girl in a pink dress who was skipping along. Beside her was an identical little boy in Hao, who had grown a lot taller. Behind him was Immerse, who was dressed in a black robe, and Feng Jiu, who was dressed in a red robe. When he saw them, an excited smile appeared on his face, and he strode forward. Why didn't you tell me that you were coming today? I would have let the people prepare. He smiled and walked forward. Looking at the pair of little children looking up at him, he couldn't hide the excitement in his eyes. This must be Mu Chun and Mu Yu. Father, this is Mu Chun and Mu Yu. Feng Jiu bowed to him and said with a smile, then looked at the 2 children. Quickly, greet your grandfather. Grandpa. The 2 children called out sweetly, looking well-behaved. Ha ha ha, good, good, good. He happily laughed. Then bending over, he stepped forward and hugged Yu. Hao greets Grandpa. Hao also saluted at this time and called out. Hao has grown up and taller. It's good that all of you are here. It will be more lively with all of you around. He smiled and glanced at Hao and Mu Chun. He said to them, Grandpa's palace is big and there are many places to stay. You guys should stay here for a few more days and keep Grandpa company. Father, we'll be staying here for a while. We won't be leaving anytime soon, Xianyuan Mose said. Hearing this, Emperor Xianyuan nodded. This is good. It will give me a chance to spend more time with the children. In the past, when you came, you only stayed for a few days. Since there is nothing important now, you could stay for a while. He paused and said, If you are not used to living in the palace, your residence outside the palace is still there. You can also stay there. In short, stay for a few more days. Chapter 4377. Hearing that Xianyuan Mose would be staying in the palace, the emperor of the Xianyuan Kingdom was very happy. He immediately took them to the palace and ordered the imperial kitchen to prepare a sumptuous banquet. Then, he took the 3 children to the national treasury and let them pick their favorite gifts. While they were living in the palace and enjoying the joy of a family reunion, the news of them returning to this place spread out quietly. Feng Jiu's friends knew that they had returned to the Phoenix dynasty, so they put down the things at hand and specially rushed to the Feng family to have a good gathering with them. The demon master, who had been avoiding Feng Jiu and Xianyuan Mose for a few years and had been using the Black Lotus to improve his strength since he obtained it, also began to have ideas after receiving the news. So, they have left the Feng family and gone to the Xianyuan Empire? The demon master played with 2 black beads in his hand as he listened to the demonic cultivator kneeling in front of him report the latest news. Yes, they didn't bring many people with them, and they have 3 children. Hearing this, the demon master, who was sitting diagonally on the main seat, didn't say anything, as if he was thinking about something. He narrowed his blood-red eyes and pondered, holding the 2 black beads in his hand, gently turning the beads, making a crisp collision sound. I have avoided them for a long time, and it's time to let them know how powerful I am. But where should I start? He murmured in a low voice, but his blood-red eyes glowed with a strange light, and his lips curved into a bloodthirsty smile. He clearly already had an idea. The kneeling guard raised his head slightly and happened to see the bloodthirsty smile on his face. He couldn't help but tremble and quickly lowered his head. The demonic cultivators below have been idle for a long time. Go, let them make some noise. His sinister voice revealed a hint of excitement, and he waved his hand to signal the kneeling guard to leave. Yes, I will take my leave. The demonic cultivator responded and quickly left. After the demonic cultivator left, the two demonic cultivators on his left and right asked, "Master, do you want us to go and make some noise? When the time comes, the two of you will follow this monarch to secretly do something." He smiled sinisterly, twirling the two black pearls in his hand, and said, "Compared to dealing with Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's, don't you think it would be more interesting to deal with their children?" Hearing this, the two of them looked at each other, hesitated for a moment, and said, "It is said that their two children are not even 3 years old, and they are always by their side. I am afraid that it will be difficult to make a move. That's why I plan to go there personally. I'll start with their children first and mess up Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's minds. Then it'll be easy to deal with them." His voice was filled with excitement. His hands slowly rotated and finally clenched into a fist. It was as if he was completely confident in this plan and was only waiting for him to personally make a move. The two demonic cultivators didn't dare to say anything and just stood respectfully behind him. They faintly felt uneasy about the demon master's decision to make a move on Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's children. If this matter didn't succeed, then it was one thing. But if it did, they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to bear the ghost Dr. Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's torrential anger. Chapter 4378. Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mo's were completely unaware of the Devil Lord's plans. During this period of time, they stayed in the palace. The children accompanied their grandfather every day, enjoying the happiness of a family reunion. Because they were in the palace and their grandfather was accompanying them, Xianyuan Mo's did not stay by their side. These days, if he was not reading in the library, he was sitting cross-legged and cultivating. Fengjiu spent a few leisurely days here. Seeing that the children were close to their grandfather, he entered the space to cultivate. During this period of time, she faintly felt that the green lotus in her body was growing stronger. At the same time, she also felt that the aura of the golden lotus in the spiritual spring was growing stronger. This was not only helpful to the growth of the green lotus, but also helped it grow stronger. In the space, she sat cross-legged and looked at the dazzling golden light emitted from the golden lotus. The light was as dazzling and beautiful as the sun, and the light seemed to carry a rainbow of colors. The sacred aura emitted by the golden lotus grew stronger and stronger, so much so that her green lotus was also affected by the aura and light and became stronger day by day. She closed her eyes and meditated. Time passed day by day. On the first day, she could feel the growth and changes of the green lotus in her body. She didn't know how much time had passed. On this day, she was still meditating. The golden lotus in front of her swayed gently. In the dazzling and sacred golden light, a shadow seemed to be condensing bit by bit. Fengjiu did not notice, but the contract beasts in the space all saw it. They saw the familiar immortal-like person, Chun, who had disappeared in front of them. His body was condensing bit by bit in the golden light, like a shadow and like an illusion. In fact, this was not the first time they had seen Chun come out of the golden lotus. Early on, when their master moved the golden lotus in, she had told them that Chun's soul was attached to the golden lotus and had become one with it. It was only a matter of time before he condensed an immortal body. However, after his soul fell into a deep sleep to recover, he had not awakened until today. They were excited and could not help but look at their master. However, they saw that she was still meditating, so they did not disturb her. In the golden lotus, Chun, whose immortal body was gradually condensing, stood at the heart of the golden lotus and quietly looked at Fengjiu in front of him. His expression was indifferent, but there was a gentle and elegant smile on his lips, as always, as if it had never changed. He looked at her with the same gentle gaze, but there was no longer any affection in his gaze. There was only relief after letting go of everything. "Adieu," he called out gently. His voice was as pleasant as the spring breeze. Fengjiu slowly opened his eyes when he heard the name Adieu. At first glance, he saw the white figure in the golden lotus. However, the figure in the golden lotus was only the size of a palm, but his eyes and expression were still as familiar as before. Chun, You've condensed an immortal body? Feng Jiu was overjoyed. He quickly stood up and walked forward. Chapter 4379. Because I have been in your space for the past 2 years and have been nourished by the golden lotus, my immortal body has made some progress. Now the form has been formed, but I have yet to condense my real body. He spoke slowly, his voice as gentle as the spring breeze. The day my immortal body is fully formed, the golden lotus will disappear and become one with me. At the same time, I will disappear from your space. If you can't see me then, don't panic and don't worry. Hearing this, Feng Jiu was stunned. She hurriedly asked, "Disappear? Then where will you go?" He looked at her and saw her slightly startled expression and the worry in her eyes. His heart warmed, and he gently said, "My body has already disappeared from this world. Once the soul residing in this golden lotus condenses a celestial body from the ancient golden lotus, this golden celestial will become one with me. At the same time, as the golden lotus disappears, my celestial body will also return to where my teacher is." His gentle voice paused, and he said slowly, "The heavenly mountain is where I cultivated and grew up. When my immortal body is formed, it will naturally return to that place." Feng Jiu's anxious heart was relieved by his words. She relaxed and asked, "Is there anything else I can do for you? I feel that the green lotus's strength has increased recently. Maybe I can." Emo-chan raised his hand to signal her to stop talking. He shook his head slightly and smiled warmly. "I just need to wait for the right time. No one can help me with this." He looked at her with gentle eyes and smiled. "Many years ago, Master told me that I have one foot in the heavens of life and death. There is a life and death trial in my life. If I can cross it, I will become an immortal. If I can't, I will disappear from the world." I didn't know what Master meant before. Later, I understood everything. His eyes were gentle, and there was calmness in his gentleness. Everything that has happened in these years has been predestined. Hearing this, Feng Jiu was silent. She didn't say anything. She just sighed softly in her heart. There were many things that didn't need to be said. There was no need to say them. Both of them knew this. In her heart, even though she loved Xianyuan Mo's deeply, Emo-chan would always be a special existence to her. If she could help him, she really wanted to do something for him. However, he had always been the one who contributed. As if he knew what she was thinking, Emo-chan smiled and asked gently, "How have you been these past few years? Tell me about it. I feel that it won't be long before my immortal body reaches great perfection. When I return to Sky Mountain, I don't know when I will see you again. Even if you go back, if your master doesn't allow you to leave the mountain, we can still go and see you." She suppressed the thoughts in her mind and chuckled. "While you were sleeping and cultivating, I didn't stay idle either." She stood beside Jinlian and told Emo-chan about what had happened in the past few years. As she spoke, Emo-chan listened quietly. It wasn't until Emo-chan once again merged into Jinlian to cultivate that Feng Jiu turned and left the space. Xianyuan Mo's was about to go and see the children when he felt something strange in the room. He stopped walking and turned back to the room. When he entered the room, he saw Feng Jiu standing by the window and looking outside. He didn't know what he was thinking, but his expression was blank. Chapter 4380. Emo-chan's immortal body has already reached the initial stage, Feng Jiu said as she relaxed in his arms. "That's a good thing," Xianyuan Mo said as he lowered his head to look at her. "Why do you seem to be so unhappy?" "Yes, it's a good thing that his immortal body has reached the initial stage. I'm also very happy for him. But I don't know why, but I feel a little depressed," she said slowly. "He told me that when he reaches the immortal body and becomes an immortal, the ancient golden lotus will disappear from my space along with him and return to the heavenly mountain where his master is. He told me that I don't have to worry about his sudden disappearance in the future." Xianyuan Mose listened quietly and did not speak. He knew that what she needed now was someone to listen to, someone to let her relax. When he talked about what his master said to him many years ago and how everything that happened in the past few years was predestined, I had an indescribable feeling in my heart. It was as if, no matter how hard we work, everything is predestined by the heavens. Hearing this, his deep eyes flashed, and he asked, "So, when you're lamenting about everything that happened in the past few years, are you also worried about what that old Taoist said about our two children?" Feng Jiu did not speak. She pursed her lips and slowly lowered her gaze. That's right. When she heard Imo Chan talk about those things, while she was lamenting about the wonders of fate, she was also shocked. If fate was predestined, did that mean that, no matter how hard they worked, everything would still happen? She was worried that her two children would not be able to grow up safely. At this moment, she felt a pair of gentle hands wrap around hers. Xianyuan Mose, who was behind her, used his strong arms to hug her. His large hands held her hands, as if he wanted to pass on his strength to her. The warmth from behind her, as well as that familiar aura, gradually calmed her down. Don't worry, no matter what you face in the future, I will be by your side and face it with you. Yes, I know, she replied softly, revealing a smile. On the other side of the palace, the emperor of Xianyuan Kingdom was accompanying the three children to plant trees in the garden. He was the emperor of the 6 kingdoms, but at this moment, he was wearing a normal robe with his sleeves rolled up as he squatted in the garden to help support the saplings. Step on the ground again, make the surrounding soil firm, the emperor of Xianyuan Kingdom said. As he said this, he saw that the 3 children were covered in soil from digging and watering the soil. They looked like 3 little kittens and couldn't help but find it funny. You are, step. The little one hurriedly put down the little shovel in her hand. She lifted the hem of her little skirt with one hand and stomped hard on the soil with her little feet. Sister, your dress is dirty, Mu Chan said as he looked at the muddy handprints on her beautiful new dress. What? Haha, it's all right. You all have to go back and take a bath. Just take a bath and change into clean clothes. The king of Xianyuan Kingdom laughed out loud. Chapter 43:81. Howard, who came over with a small water bottle, couldn't help but laugh. Little sister, it won't bear fruit tomorrow. Even if it does, it will take many years. Yes, it will take many years to bear fruit. Tomorrow, it won't bear fruit. Ha ha! The emperor of Xianyuan Kingdom couldn't help but laugh when he heard the child's words. Won't it grow faster if you water it every day? She blinked her beautiful big eyes and asked. Mu Chun, who was beside her, acted like a little adult and said, this kind of sapling will take a long time to grow. When we grow up, it will also bear fruit. Yes, when you grow up, this spirit fruit tree will also grow. The emperor of Xianyuan Kingdom smiled and nodded. There's still a long way to go. There's no need to rush. Come, Grandpa will bring you to surround the sapling. In the future, no one will be allowed to enter this place. This is your place. Grandpa will help you guard the fruit tree. As he spoke, he brought the 3 children to stand in front of the sapling and looked around. He said, Chun, go and get the purple spirit bamboo. Plant it here and form a circle. How, you are strong. You will dig a hole starting from here. Sprinkle water around so that there won't be so much dust flying around. Okay. The 3 children responded excitedly. Following his instructions, they each began to do one thing. Doing things with their own hands and with their grandfather accompanying them, they were all very excited and motivated. How, in particular, was very happy. During this period of time, the smile on his little face had increased by quite a bit. Because he was at his father's and mother's side, regardless of whether they went to the Feng Manor or the Imperial Palace, he felt as if he had returned home. The Emperor of Xianyuan Kingdom really loved them. This great imperial garden was originally a place where hundreds of flowers bloomed. However, he ordered a large patch of flowers and plants to be pulled out to make a space in the center for the 3 children to plant the spirit fruit tree. He also specially found the precious purple spirit bamboo and planted it around the spirit fruit tree to form a protective circle. On this day, they worked until evening. When the sky gradually darkened, both the Emperor of Xianyuan Kingdom and the 3 children were exhausted. Only then did they return together. Grandfather, Tomorrow morning I will come to water them. I will come to water them every day. Ewer, who was being carried by her grandfather, had an excited expression on her face when she spoke about the spiritual fruit trees. Okay. I'll come over early tomorrow morning. He looked at Hao and Mu Chan beside him and asked, Are you too tired? I'm not tired, said the two of them. As they spoke, they looked at each other and smiled. Even if they felt tired, they didn't want to say it out loud because they were happy. Brother, are you hungry? Muchin asked. I'm not hungry. I had some snacks just now, Howard said and looked at him. Are you hungry? I have food here. I'm thirsty. I'm not hungry, Muchan said. I have water. Howard hurriedly took out a water bag from his space. Muchin took it and asked curiously, Brother, why do you still have a water skin in your space? Chapter 43:82. They chatted as they walked. Not far behind them, Lung Hua and Hui Lang were following them at a leisurely pace. Hui Lang couldn't help but smile as he looked at them. The monarch really dotes on the three of them. Look at all those precious flowers and plants in the imperial garden. He actually plucked them just like that. And man, I can see that. Lung Hua nodded with a smile. Let me tell you a secret. In the past, the monarch didn't even treat Master this well. Even when the father and son met, they didn't talk much. But now, the monarch actually accompanied the three children to plant trees and bamboos for an entire day. I really didn't expect the monarch to be this kind of person. Hearing this, Lung Hua looked at him with amusement and said, Is there anyone who praises people like you? Aren't you afraid that the monarch will hear you? This is nothing. Besides, you see, the monarch is now wholeheartedly focused on the three golden grandchildren. How could he care about what we are talking about? Hui Lang grinned and waved his hand carelessly. Lung Hua shook his head with a smile and didn't say anything. Just as the two of them walked, they kept looking at the people in front of them. When they came to a bend, they heard Yer curiously calling out in a low voice. Grandpa, look, what's that? They raised their heads and looked at the sky. At this time, the sky was gradually darkening. The stirring of the clouds in the sky didn't seem very obvious. What's going on? Hui Lang frowned and said from behind. Then he saw flames on the other side of the palace. Moreover, the sound of swords clashing could be faintly heard. Something's wrong. Lung Hua's expression turned cold. He quickly went to the side of the monarch of Xianyuan and the children. It must be demonic cultivators. Hui Lang also reacted and said with a cold face, In the past few days, I heard from the people of Yindian that demonic cultivators have been causing trouble outside. I didn't expect that they would dare to have ideas about this place. They must be tired of living. The king of the Xianyuan kingdom looked at the burning area and heard the sounds of battle. He immediately shouted, Where is Ning? Your subordinates are here. 8 secret guards appeared out of nowhere and saluted respectfully. Hurry up and check it out. He mobilized the shadow guards to quickly clean it up. Anyone who dares to trespass the palace will be killed on the spot. The emperor of the Xianyuan kingdom's voice was deep and cold, the aura of a superior being burst forth at this moment. Yes, 4 of the 8 shadow guards left. The remaining 4 stayed close to the emperor of the Xianyuan kingdom, forming a protective circle around him and the 3 children. Hui Lang and Lung Hua, take good care of Hao and Mu Chun. Quickly send the 3 children back to their parents, the emperor of Xianyuan said as he looked at the 2 of them. Yes. Lung Hua went forward and carried the younger Mu Chun. Hui Lang held Hao-er's hand. The 2 of them took the children and followed the emperor of Xianyuan kingdom to send the 3 children back to their parents' palace. In the palace, Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu were also the first to sense the commotion in the palace. They came out of their rooms and saw thick smoke coming from the place where the flames were flashing. The sound of swords clashing could be heard. They couldn't help but frown. Only those demonic cultivators would dare to fight in this palace. Chapter 43:83. They should be in the Imperial Garden, Xianyuan Mose said as he rushed out with her. As they walked towards the Imperial Garden, the Emperor of Xianyuan and the others were also walking towards them with the children. Therefore, It didn't take long for them to meet halfway. "Daddy, Mommy," Yu waved her little hands and shouted. She was very happy to see them. When Fengjiu saw that the three children were all there, his anxious heart finally relaxed. He hurriedly went forward to take Yu. "You came at the right time. Bring the children back and take good care of them. I'll go over there to take a look," the Emperor of Xianyuan said as he handed the three children to them. "Hui Lang, Lung Hua, you two go with him to help," Fengjiu instructed. "Okay," the two of them replied. "By the way, I don't know what's going on with the clouds in the sky. They have been stirring since just now," the Emperor of Xianyuan said as he walked a few steps away, indicating for them to look at the clouds in the sky. Hearing this, Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu looked up and saw that the clouds were stirring like a whirlpool in the sky that had already darkened. The speed was not fast, as if something was brewing. Let's go back to the palace first," Xianyuan Mose said. Seeing that his father and the others had left, he carried Chen and planned to send them back to the palace first. "Okay," Fengjiu replied. He carried Yu in one hand and held Hao in the other as he followed Mu Chun to the palace. However, after taking a few steps, they felt that something was wrong in the air. They immediately stopped in their tracks and saw that in the night, dozens of demonic cultivators had appeared out of nowhere. They formed a circle and faced each other with their swords. The demonic cultivators knew who they were, so they didn't dare to step forward. They only held their swords with fear in their eyes, as if they were waiting for others to attack first. "What are you all standing there for? Attack!" When the leader of the devil cultivators saw the fear in their eyes, he couldn't help but feel annoyed. He shouted sternly, "Don't forget the devil lord's orders." As soon as these words were spoken, the hearts of those devil cultivators trembled, as if they had thought of something. Without any hesitation, they clenched their teeth and flew up, attacking Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu. They knew that with their strength, going against Xianyuan Mose and the ghost Dr. Fengjiu would be like throwing eggs against a rock. However, if they disobeyed orders and did not attack, what awaited them would be a fate worse than death. "Kill!" A loud shout rang out, and dozens of devil cultivators quickly rushed forward, attacking the two of them. Looking at this scene, Xianyuan Mose's eyes flashed with a cold light. He said coldly, "You overestimate yourself." As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his hand, and a powerful aura that was visible to the naked eye formed a half-arc of sharp air current and attacked them. Whoosh! Whoosh! A sharp wind blade slashed past, and with a whoosh, those demonic cultivators who rushed forward groaned and were sent flying one after another. One by one, they fell from a high place and crashed to the ground. Blood spurted out from their mouths, and their eyes were filled with horror. They knew that Xianyuan Mose and the ghost Dr. Fengjiu were very strong, but they didn't expect that with their strength, they couldn't even get close to them. Chapter 4384. Sensing that terrifying ancient might pervading in the air, and sensing the powerful and terrifying airflow in the hollow of his palm, the pupils of the leading devil cultivator shrunk, and he immediately shouted, "Quick, set up the formation." That sinister voice carried urgency, and pressure woke them up. Those devil cultivators who fell on the ground looked towards the leading devil cultivator. Then, clenching their teeth, they bit their middle finger, and at the same time, blood flowed out. They pressed the blood on their forehead. Then, one by one, they quickly sat cross-legged and condensed their hands in front of them to form a seal. Seeing this scene, Xianyuan Mose and Fengjiu looked at each other. The former frowned, while the latter's eyes flashed with contemplation and alertness. They instinctively protected the three children behind them. But in the next moment, they saw a black aura gushing out from between their eyebrows, and gradually, it rapidly condensed between them. Not good. It's the aura of ancient black lotus. Fengjiu's complexion changed, and he immediately put down Yu, then said to Xianyuan Mose, "You look after the children." The world-destroying aura of ancient black lotus was basically not something that Mose could resist. But she was different, as the cyan lotus within her body was even more powerful, so she could contend against it. Seeing this, Xin Yuan Mose took the 3 children and retreated to one side, then looked at Feng Jiu condensing his hands, and a flame carrying the aura of Cyan Lotus advanced towards those devil cultivators. But at this time, the aura of Black Lotus that was drawn out by the blood of those devil cultivators formed into a black figure. Seeing Feng Jiu's flame carrying the aura of Cyan Lotus, that black figure dissipated in front, but in a flash, it scuttled through the flame and pounced towards Feng Jiu. Mournful, blood-curdling screams, accompanied with the aura of death, spread in the air. The flame of Feng Jiu pounced towards those devil cultivators, and the raging flame instantly engulfed those devil cultivators, and the blood-curdling screams came from within the flame. However, that black figure condensed from ancient Black Lotus was not affected in the slightest. It did not care about the life and death of those devil cultivators behind it, rather swept through the flame and directly pounced towards Feng Jiu. "Be careful," Xin Yuan Mose reminded her. He watched as Feng Jiu quickly dodged the attack of the black shadow, only to be caught up in it again. The two of them exchanged blows, and the other party was not afraid of her ancient might and powerful aura. This made him a little worried. Looking towards the other side of the palace, the battle there seemed to have not ended. The sounds of fighting could be faintly heard from afar. Could it be that there were only these demonic cultivators tonight? Would the Devil Lord appear? If he did, where would he be now? He furrowed his brows in deep thought as he looked at the burning scene while covering his daughter's eyes. The little girl was not even 3 years old, and she was also a girl. Such a scene would prevent her from having nightmares at night. However, he still underestimated the endurance of the 3 children. When the 3 little guys saw this scene, there was no fear in their eyes. They just watched nervously, worried about their mother. "Father, what is that black shadow? Will Mother be able to defeat it?" Ewer worriedly asked. Then she reached out her little hand to remove the big hand covering her eyes. Chapter 4385. Just as they were talking, they saw that the black figure in front of them was hit by Feng Jiu's green lotus chi. That attack seemed to hit Cotton, but in the next moment, that black chi dissipated in the air. A few drops of blood fell from that black chi and dripped to the ground, disappearing into the soil. Feng Jiu looked at the dissipating black figure and again looked at his palm. His eyes flashed. He heard Yuer's excited and joyful voice coming from behind him. "That's great. Mother won. Mother is so powerful." Feng Jiu turned around and saw his daughter's little face brimming with a happy smile. He couldn't help but reveal a smile. However, in the next moment, she was startled by the dense black lotus chi that pervaded the air from a distance. Xin Yuan Mose saw her expression change. When he followed her gaze, he saw the palace on fire. He didn't know when, but a powerful black lotus chi had condensed in the air and was surging over there. Could it be the Demon Lord? He opened his mouth and said, frowning, if it was the Demon Lord, then even if his father and others were there, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Even if it wasn't the Demon Lord, with such a powerful black lotus chi, if the black lotus chi entered their body, the consequences would be unimaginable. "Let's go and take a look," Feng Jiu said. He knew that it was impossible to let Mose bring the 3 children back. After all, the person there was his father. Even if it wasn't his father, it was impossible for a man like him to hide in the palace and let her go alone. They wouldn't feel at ease leaving the 3 children in the hands of others to protect. Moreover, she didn't bring many people with her this time. Therefore, the best way was to go together. Even if something happened, they could take care of each other. At that moment, Xin Yuan Mose carried Mu Chun and Mu Yu, while Feng Jiu rushed forward and carried Hao Er. However, when they arrived, they only saw a floor full of corpses, splattered blood, and surging black aura. They didn't see a single living person in the surroundings, whether it was a demonic cultivator, a palace guard, or a shadow guard. "Grandfather is there," Yuer shouted while pointing at the fainted Xianyuan monarch in the corner. "Uncle Hua and Uncle Hui Lang are there, as well as Aunt Shuang." Howard looked at the figures that had fallen in a few corners on the other side. He was worried and wanted to go forward to take a look, but was held down. Stay by mother's side and don't run around. Xin Yuan Mose instructed them to follow Fengjiu closely. Then, he quickly went to his father's side and helped him up. At this moment, his body was covered in blood, and there was a faint black aura lingering around his body. He fainted there and did not move at all. For a moment, his heart was in his throat. If the Black Lotus Death aura invaded his body, Xin Yuan Mose helped his father up and called out, "Father, father." "Yes, father." "Father, father." "Mose." Several panicked voices suddenly sounded. The three children and Fengjiu looked at this scene in shock, and their expressions changed drastically. Chapter 4386. And that pair of hands seemed to want to stab deeper into that chest, but they were caught by Xin Yuan Mose's hand, making them unable to go any further. But even so, this hard blow, moreover, it was such an unguarded blow, and also such a fatal blow, already made Fengjiu and the three children so shocked that their hearts were about to jump out. Demon Master. Xin Yuan Mose's forehead was soaked with cold sweat, and his complexion was also pale. Staring at the person in front of him, he said with certainty. And also at this time, that pair of eyes that were originally closed lifted up, revealing blood-red eyes. It was precisely that pair of bloodthirsty eyes of the Demon Master. At this time, his eyes were filled with madness and excitement, as if looking at the person in front of him, he was already a dead person. Bang! At this moment, Xin Yuan Mose saw that pair of blood-red eyes and struck out a palm. But his palm didn't hit him, because at the moment he struck out, the Demon Master had already quickly retreated and at the same time pulled out that palm that couldn't go any further. Ha 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 ha! Mose. When the savage and sinister laughter spread in the night, Fengjiu took the three children and quickly rushed toward Xin Yuan Mose. That Demon Master didn't stop them, and a faint light flashed through his blood-red eyes. No one knew what he was thinking. Father. The three children's eyes were red, and they worriedly looked at their mother's palm that condensed a cyan-colored aura and covered their father's chest. Ewer gritted her teeth and hatefully stared at that Demon Master. This bad person, who had turned into her grandfather's appearance, injured her father. Mu Chun also angrily stared at that Demon Master. Seeing that there was a knife at the side, he wanted to pick it up and hit that Demon Master, but he was held down by Howard. Don't run around. Don't move, quietly stand there, and don't cause trouble for Mother. Howard said, staring at that Demon Master, and calmly said, "We can't beat him." Fengjiu used the healing power of the Green Lotus to help Xin Yuan Mose heal his wounds. If Mose had not avoided the fatal blow to his heart at the last moment, she was afraid that even if she used the healing power of the Green Lotus to heal him, it would not have been effective. "Don't bother. I won't die." Xin Yuan Mose's forehead was drenched in cold sweat. His voice was weak as he said, "He wants you to exhaust the power of the Green Lotus so that he can catch all of us in one fell swoop. Don't fall into his trap. You're heavily injured. I can't just leave you be," Fengjiu said through gritted teeth. When his cold gaze landed on the Devil Lord in midair, his eyes overflowed with killing intent. Today, she was going to destroy this Demon Lord. After all, he had once been defeated by them. Being stared at by Fengjiu's murderous gaze, the arrogant smile on the Demon Lord's face faded a little. His bloodthirsty eyes were filled with hostility as he stared at her. With a cold snort, the black aura on his body surged, and even the black aura in the air surged. Boom! A rumbling sound suddenly rang out, like a sudden clap of thunder coming from the clouds. Fengjiu looked up and saw that the vortex that had appeared in the sky earlier was resonating with the black aura below, making a series of rumbling sounds. "Fengjiu, you want to destroy me, and I also want to destroy you. From the time I obtained the ancient Black Lotus until now, I have waited so long, worked hard to absorb the aura in the Black Lotus, and cultivated the Black Lotus technique, all for today." Chapter 4387. Fengjiu placed one hand on the chest of Xin Yuan Mose and used the unceasing regeneration power of Green Lotus to heal his wounds. Hearing the words of that demon master, she sneered. A loser will always be a loser. Originally, I wanted to let you live for a few more days, but now you delivered yourself to my doorstep to court death. I will let you taste the feeling of having your soul scattered and never reincarnated. Ha 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 ha. Demon Master raised his head and laughed heartily. Then, his laughter suddenly stopped, and his gloomy and cold, bloodthirsty gaze fell on her body. Do you think that this monarch will be like that Black Lotus Lord and be exterminated by you? This monarch is not afraid to tell you. This monarch not only obtained the ancient Black Lotus, but also obtained the power of that Black Lotus Lord. You want to exterminate this monarch? Huh. Wishful thinking. Just as his voice fell, a black aura condensed in his palm, and he suddenly rushed forward, attacking towards Fengjiu and Xianyuan Mose. Fengjiu placed one hand on the chest of Xianyuan Mose, and when she saw that Demon Master was about to attack, killing intent burst out from her eyes. Then she slowly retracted the aura in her palm and said to the 3 children behind her, "Look at your father." Finished speaking, she raised her aura, and with a flash of cyan light in her hand, Qing Feng's sword appeared in her hand, and she faced Demon Master in front of her. Who? Xiao, Peng Peng Peng. One red and one black figure fought in midair, and the powerful aura fluctuation made the aura of the entire atmosphere become oppressive. Because Xianyuan Mose and the 3 children had powerful contract beasts within their body, they didn't feel anything under this oppressive might. Merely, that chaotic airflow was like a blade, making them somewhat worried that those airflow would injure their father. "Father, are you in pain?" Yura looked at him with red eyes, and her small mouth flattened, and tears were spinning in her eyes. "Father is not in pain. Yura is obedient. Don't worry." Xianyuan Mose's complexion was pale, and he said in a weak voice, it was all his fault for being careless. He thought that his father was unprepared, but he didn't expect that Demon Master could already transform into such a real and difficult-to-distinguish person. His palm moved, and a pill appeared in his hand. He struggled to raise his hand and swallow the pill. Howard, who was beside him, hurriedly lifted the pill and brought it to his lips. "Father, medicine," Howard said, then quickly took out a mouthful of water. After he took the pill and fed him a mouthful of clear water and nervously looked at him. "Father, you will be fine. Mother's medical skill, she is very good. She will cure you." He smiled and comforted them. Of Xianyuan Mose and Xianyuan Mose. His Mose to Xianyuan Mose, and leave his heart demon, and Mose his heart Mao, leaving his Mose and left A Mose. If he hadn't narrowly avoided the position of his heart at that critical moment, perhaps his entire heart would have been taken out. Even if he was strong, but with such an injury, he could only sit here powerlessly. At this time, he saw a stream of airflow coming towards them. Fengjiu was fighting with the Demon Master and didn't pay attention to this side. When he was about to raise his hand, he heard a childish voice coldly shout, "Qilin, Silver Wolf, Awu." Mu Chun and Howard shouted coldly, and the ancient mythological beast Qilin and the snow-white silver wolf jumped out from their bodies, blocking the danger in front of them. Chapter 4388. Yura blinked her eyes as she looked at the 2 majestic Qilin beasts and the snow-white silver wolf in front of her. She had the little fox. Forget it. With the protection of her brother's contracted beasts, she wouldn't let the little fox come out. The Demon Master who was fighting with Fengjiu caught a glimpse of this scene from the corner of his eyes, and his blood-red eyes flashed. "You actually found the ancient Qilin beast." He stared at those children, and a faint light flashed past his eyes, as if he was thinking of something. The sword in Fengjiu's hand was like a green light, attacking towards the Demon Master's chest, but the Demon Master dodged it. Therefore, that sword turned in her hand, and a biting cold light slashed across his waist. The sharp sword blade cut open the black robe on his body, and the wound on his waist was so deep that his bones could be seen. "Hiss!" The demon master sucked in a breath of air. In just a moment of distraction, the side of his waist was cut by the Qingfeng sword. If he hadn't dodged that attack quickly, it was very likely that he would have been cut into two halves. You dare to have ideas about them. This is your end. Fengjiu's cold voice resounded. The attack in her hand didn't stop, and every move was ruthless and full of killing intent. Her strength had recovered to its peak, and the Qingfeng lotus in her body was also a lot stronger, so she wasn't at a disadvantage. However, as the demon master had said, he had inherited part of the Black Lotus Lord's ability, and now his strength had increased greatly. If she wanted to take him down in a short period of time, it was really a bit difficult. But when she thought of the injured Xinyuan Mo's, and then thought of the faint light in the demon master's eyes when he stared at those children, she knew that today, no matter what price she had to pay, she had to kill him here to prevent future troubles. Thinking of this, she threw the Qingfeng sword into the air, and at the same time her body soared into the air, her hands quickly formed a seal in front of her, and, at the same time, she shouted in a low voice, "Fire Phoenix." As soon as she finished speaking, a light flashed and the Fire Phoenix soared into the sky. It spread its wings and flew a circle before arriving at her feet and allowing her to stand on its back. Fengjiu's spiritual aura surged little by little, and a green light appeared between his eyebrows. Then, a small green lotus emerged from between his eyebrows. With the appearance of the green lotus, the aura of the green lotus spread in the air and gradually expanded. In Fengjiu's space, Mo Chun, who was meditating in the golden lotus, seemed to have sensed the commotion outside. He opened his eyes and looked outside through the space. The ground was littered with corpses and blood, as well as the injured Xinyuan Mo's and the 3 children. Looking up, Fengjiu was fighting with the demon master who was emitting the aura of the ancient Black Lotus. Seeing the powerful aura of the Black Lotus on the demon master's body, he slowly sat down cross-legged in the golden lotus and looked at Fengjiu. A gentle voice sounded from the space and entered Fengjiu's ears. "Jiu, I'll help you with the power of the golden lotus." With just one sentence, Fengjiu did not have time to react. She felt a pure and holy aura fuse with the green lotus between her eyebrows. In an instant, she could feel the power of the green lotus growing stronger. At the same time, she raised her eyes and looked forward. She saw that the light of the green lotus was faintly mixed with bits of golden light. Wherever it passed, the aura of the ancient Black Lotus in the air disappeared bit by bit. "No, this is impossible." Chapter 4389. Fengjiu looked at him coldly. As her hands moved, a stream of energy gradually formed between her hands. It was a stream of energy that was formed from the green glow of the green lotus and the golden glow of the golden lotus. It was like 2 sides of a Tai Chi diagram that rotated in her hands and gradually condensed. Since ancient times, evil has never triumphed over good. No matter how strong you are, your final destination is only death. A clear and cold voice slowly came out of her mouth. The fire phoenix under her feet let out a cry and flew towards the demon lord in front of it. It used its body of flames to break through the Black Lotus aura that surrounded the demon lord like a protective shield. Ao, Shio. Wherever the fire phoenix passed, the black stream of energy would scatter to the sides. The black stream of energy that had condensed in front of the demon lord also let out a bang and quickly dispersed because of the unexpected attack. It was also at this moment that Fengjiu's eyes moved. The energy ball that contained the powerful stream of energy in her hands flew towards the demon lord at a speed that was too fast for the ears to cover. At the same time, she shouted, "Fire Phoenix, dodge!" The Fire Phoenix flapped its wings and flew into the night sky to avoid the attack. In Fengjiu's space, Mo Chun transmitted the aura of his golden lotus bit by bit to Fengjiu. As he continuously released the power of the golden lotus, his body did not gradually weaken like before. Instead, a faint golden holy light appeared. The golden holy light enveloped him. He did not notice the changes in his body, nor did he notice the changes in the golden lotus he was sitting on. With his eyes closed, a golden light quietly appeared between his eyebrows. The golden lotus gradually weakened and disappeared. When it disappeared into the spirit spring in the space, he, who was enveloped by the golden holy light, also disappeared without a trace outside. The demon lord saw the energy ball carrying the aura of death coming towards him. At that moment, his heart skipped a beat. He felt the aura of death filling the sky, as if it wanted to devour him. Almost without thinking, he clenched his hands together, and the black lotus that had been hidden between his eyebrows also appeared at this moment. His hands quickly formed a powerful protective shield with the aura of the black lotus. When he saw that the energy flow was blocked by the aura of the black lotus, he finally relaxed and raised his head to laugh loudly. "You want to kill me? It's not that easy." Fengjiu's eyes flashed when she saw this. She flew up and gathered air currents in her hands and pushed them towards the energy ball. An endless stream of air flowed through her body and into the energy ball. She watched as the green and golden light in the energy ball grew stronger bit by bit, swallowing the black air currents bit by bit. She looked up at the Devil Lord in front of her. "Today, you have to die even if you don't want to." That voice, like a summons from hell, entered the Devil Lord's ears and crashed into his heart, causing him to widen his eyes in shock. This was because the protective shield formed by the aura of the Black Lotus was weakening bit by bit. It was as if his protective shield was going to shatter in the next moment. Looking at this scene, and then looking at Fengjiu's cold, murderous aura and monstrous aura, the Devil Lord's originally terrified heart gradually calmed down. He stared at her and revealed a strange smile. "I know why you can't wait to kill me." Chapter 4390. Looking at the strange smile on his face, Fengjiu frowned. He had a bad premonition. Immediately, he injected spiritual power into the energy ball in his palm again, wanting to break the demon lord's defensive shield as soon as possible and kill him. "Fengjiu." The demon lord stared at her, revealing an inexplicable smile. "This lord has fought with you for so long, and I thought that I would kill you all. At that time, this lord would become the supreme ruler of the 6 realms, but I didn't expect that you would come back again and become my stumbling blocks, hindering this lord from becoming the supreme ruler of the world. Before this lord obtained the Black Lotus of Destruction, I was no match for you. After this lord obtained the Black Lotus of Destruction, obtained the power hidden in the Black Lotus, and cultivated the Black Lotus technique, this lord always felt that this time, even if you and Xianyuan Mo's joined forces again, you would still be no match for this lord. However, in order to prevent any accidents, this lord decided to kill one of you first, but unexpectedly. Your luck is always so good." His blood-red eyes swept past Fengjiu and fell on Xianyuan Mo's. Just a little bit more, and Xianyuan Mo's heart would be dug out. Just a little bit more. Perhaps, from a moment, the ancient golden lotus fell into your hands. This lord was destined to always lose to you. But haha, he smiled sinisterly, staring at Fengjiu, and said, "Since this lord will lose to you no matter what, then this lord will give you a big gift, even if it means sacrificing my life." Fengjiu's heart sank and asked, "What do you want to do?" "Ha ha ha ha. You will know soon." He no longer used the power of the Black Lotus of Destruction to protect the defensive shield. Instead, he tore open his shirt, revealing his chest that was covered in old wounds. His blood-red eyes stared at Fengjiu with a hint of madness in them. He used his finger to pierce his own heart, offering the blood of his heart as a sacrifice. Blood gushed out from his heart, dripping bit by bit. However, it did not drip to the ground. Instead, every drop of blood condensed under his feet, connecting together as he drew a strange imprint with his finger that was stained with his heart's blood, releasing powerful black light. In the air, the chi of the Black Lotus, which had been weakening, began to surge under the effect of his heart's blood. The chi of death on the corpses on the ground was sucked into the strange formation, and the black lotus in between the demon lord's eyebrows also flew out of his body and hovered in front of him. A powerful airflow surged in the air, whistling, and a gust of wind suddenly rose, whistling. In the corner below, the Qilin beast and the silver wolf stood in front of the three children and Xianyuan Mose, blocking the powerful airflow for them. The gust of wind blew, and the robes of the corpses on the ground fluttered. Even the corpses seemed to show signs of being blown by the strong wind blade. Hao held the two children in his arms, half lying on the ground, so that they would not be blown away by the strong wind blade because of their small size. They looked up and saw the two airflows in front of them colliding with each other, stirring up countless airflows. Suddenly, the blood under the demon lord's feet seemed to have a life of its own. With a flash of light, it moved from under his feet to the side of the sky, forming a strange formation in the sky like stars. Chapter 4391. The dark aura on his body surged, and the bloodthirsty smile on his lips was strange and fierce. His voice was sinister and crazy. I will make you beg for what you want, but can't get it. I will make you lose what you value the most. I will make you live in pain and regret. Ha 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 ha. He raised his head and laughed wildly. A gust of wind surged around him. The next moment, his hands formed a complicated seal. His blood-red eyes stared at the three children. Immediately, the figures of the three children were sucked up by the blood formation. They flew to the front of the strange formation and were fixed in the heart of the blood formation. Ah, mother, mother, mother! The three children exclaimed and waved their hands and feet, but they could not break free from the power that fixed them in place. Seeing this, the snow wolf and the Qilin beast rushed forward to save them, but the blood formation flashed and sucked them into the bodies of the two children. How? Chen are you? Fengjiu exclaimed, and her heart skipped a beat. She wanted to turn back to save them, but found that she could not withdraw her hand from the energy ball. It was as if she was sucked in by a force and could not move at all. Fire Phoenix! Fengjiu shouted anxiously and asked the Fire Phoenix to go down and save them. However, when the Fire Phoenix rushed down to the blood formation, it was also repelled by the powerful blood formation and could not get close. Master, I can't get close. The blood formation is an ancient evil formation. It is driven by the blood of his heart and protected by the aura of the black lotus of destruction. I can't get close. The Fire Phoenix said anxiously. Seeing the three children there, but unable to do anything, she could not help but feel anxious. Seeing this, Xianyuan Mose struggled to stand up, but fell down powerlessly. Seeing the three children trapped in the blood formation, he immediately called, Azure Dragon. The Azure Dragon flew out of his body. Without his command, it also tried to break the blood formation. However, it could not shake the ancient blood formation at all. This is an ancient blood curse formation. Even if it's us, we won't be able to break through it. The Azure Dragon's deep and majestic voice rang out in the air. It stared at the demon lord within the defensive barrier. In the next moment, it let out a low roar and rushed towards the defensive barrier. The dragon's body coiled around the defensive barrier, wanting to use its own strength to break the demon lord's defensive barrier. Since the blood array couldn't be broken, as long as he could break the defensive barrier and kill him, the blood curse ancient array would naturally disappear. However, the demon master laughed softly. It's useless. Today, even if you combine all your strength, you won't be able to stop what I want to do. He stared at Fengjiu and said word by word, I offer my heart's blood as a sacrifice. I'll break the bond between you and your child and curse your child so that he will never remember anything related to you in this lifetime. In the 3,000 worlds, you will never meet again in this lifetime. As his voice fell, the blood of his heart gushed out from his chest and sprayed on the black lotus. At the same time, the rotating black lotus flew out with a whoosh and fell into the ancient blood formation. At the same time, a dark light surged and a devilish black hole appeared. It swallowed the three children and the Black Lotus at a speed that was too fast for anyone to react to. Father, mother, 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 how, China, you, Chapter 4392. Bang, boom, boom, crack, boom. The demon lord's soul was destroyed and turned into ashes, dissipating between heaven and earth. The black aura in the air also dissipated with the death of the demon lord. The remaining aura of the Black Lotus in the air was gradually purified by the radiance of the green lotus and the specks of golden light until not a trace of it could be found. Yua, China, how? Fengjiu, who had fallen to the ground, screamed at the top of his lungs. However, he only had time to see the ancient blood array disappear along with the aura of the Black Lotus. Seeing the three children disappear in front of her, she stood up, and her figure swayed slightly. She only felt darkness in front of her eyes. Puffed. Xinyuan Mose was so anxious that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He raised his hand and looked at the sky where the three children had disappeared. His lips moved slightly, but in the end, he could not hold on and fainted. My children, Fengjiu murmured. His legs gave way, and he fell to the ground, staring blankly at the disappearing sky. The moment the demon lord's words fell, she felt as if the bond between her and the two children had been severed. In an instant, her heart was filled with fear, as if she had lost her most precious treasure. She was terrified and helpless. Master Fire Phoenix came to her side. Seeing the trace of blood at the corner of her mouth and the fainted Yama Lord, she said, Master, don't worry. We will definitely find a way to find the little masters. Azure Dragon wanted to say something, but in the end, he did not say anything. He just came to Xinyuan Mose's side. Seeing that he had fainted, he looked back at Fengjiu and said, Fire Phoenix is right. Even if it's the blood curse ancient array, there will definitely be a way to break it. Moreover, each of them has a powerful contracted beast. Even if they are wandering alone, they will be fine. Now, let's deal with the matter here first. At least, the demon lord was dead, and the ancient Black Lotus had lost its power and disappeared between heaven and earth. This should be a good thing. As for the three children, even if they were stranded outside, they would definitely be found one day. Hearing their words, Fengjiu gradually calmed down. That's right. They have contracted beasts with them. Even if they are wandering outside, they will be fine. I have to deal with everything here first before I think of a way to find them. Stabilizing her mind, she wiped away the blood from the corner of her mouth and quickly walked to Xinyuan Mose's side. At this time, the sky was still rumbling, the powerful tremors shaking the entire world. Yi, who had gone to carry out his mission, rushed back as fast as he could when he found out that something had happened in the palace. However, when he brought the people of Yindian back to the palace, he only saw the tragic scene. Master, madam. He quickly stepped forward. When he saw Fengjiu helping his seriously injured master up, he hurriedly helped to support him. He looked around and saw that among the corpses on the ground, there were demonic cultivators and familiar shadow guards. He clenched his fists tightly. Madam, I'm sorry I came back late. The devil cultivators were causing trouble everywhere. He was ordered by his master to carry out his mission in Yindian, but he did not expect to see such a scene when he returned. Chapter 4393. Yes, Yi replied. He looked around, but didn't see the three little masters. Thinking that they might be in a safe place, he didn't think too much about it. He immediately led his men to check if there were any survivors. He also carried the severely injured Lung Hua and the others into the hall. Finally, under the bodies of several secret guards, they found the unconscious emperor of Xinyuan Kingdom. Quick, take them all back to the hall, Yi ordered. He quickly mobilized his men and sent a message to Du Fan and the others, asking them to come quickly. After everything was arranged, he saw the Azure Dragon and the Fire Phoenix perched on the roof of the hall. Seeing the two ancient mythical beasts silently looking at the night sky, he felt strange. He thought that they were worried about the chaos in the palace. So he said, "You don't have to worry. Now in all the realms, except for the evil spirit cultivators, no one dares to provoke master and madam." The azure dragon glanced at him and didn't say anything. The fire phoenix also glanced at him and didn't say anything. Perhaps because of the heavy atmosphere, he asked, "Did the devil lord escape or die?" The situation in the palace was so tragic. Did the devil lord escape or die? The devil lord is dead. The power of the black lotus was used up, and it withered and disappeared. The fire phoenix said, squatting on the roof of the palace, watching the rumbling in the sky gradually calm down. The dark clouds dispersed, and a little starlight appeared in the night sky. She said, "The three little masters are also gone." Hearing this, Yi's face changed. "What do you mean? Aren't the three little masters in a safe place? How could they be gone?" The fire phoenix knew that its master didn't want to talk about the disappearance of the three little masters, so it told him everything that happened tonight. Finally, it said, "Only when Dufan and the others came did you tell them to comfort my master, lest she be too worried." Seeing that there was no one else, Yi asked, "But doesn't Madam have the space? Why didn't she send the three little masters into the space? If I had sent it into the space, maybe this wouldn't have happened." Hearing this, the fire phoenix's gaze sharpened. She swept a cold glance at Yi. "Are you blaming my master?" I don't mean to blame Madam, because I know that Madam cares about the safety of the three little masters more than anyone else. He lowered his eyes and sighed. He just didn't expect such an outcome. In his opinion, perhaps such an outcome could have been avoided. Fire Phoenix coldly snorted and said, "In this world, no one cares more about the safety of the three little masters than the master. However, under such circumstances, it was impossible for the master to send the three little masters into the space. He also didn't expect such a result. Now that it has happened, it's not time to look into the problem, but to find a way to solve it." Hearing that, Yi's eyes lit up. The three young masters all have communication jades. Maybe it won't be hard to find them. Saying this, he turned around and walked into the palace, saying, "I'll go to the palace and have a look. When Dufan and the others come, we'll try together." Seeing him leave quickly, the Fire Phoenix didn't say anything. She glanced at Azure Dragon and asked, "What do you think?" Chapter 4394. The Fire Phoenix snorted in annoyance and said, "I know that the ancient blood curse is not that simple. That's why I'm asking you if you have any ideas." "No," the Azure Dragon said. Then can we find them and bring them back?" The Fire Phoenix asked uncertainly. "I don't know." The Azure Dragon narrowed his eyes. "If you don't know, then why did you say that to my master?" The Fire Phoenix's temper flared up and it roared at the Azure Dragon. The Azure Dragon glanced at it and said, "Didn't you also comfort her in the same way?" Hearing this, the Fire Phoenix felt its breath stuck in its throat and it couldn't move up or down. It took a deep breath and its body flashed and it turned into a ray of light and flew towards the palace. Dufan and the others arrived at the palace in the middle of the night. When they arrived, the first person they saw was Yi. When they saw Yi, they strode forward and asked, "What happened? Why did you ask us to rush over in such a hurry?" Yi looked at them and said, "The demonic cultivators are causing trouble everywhere. I was ordered to go to the Hall of Hell to arrange a mission. When I came back, I found out." He told them everything that happened tonight and finally said, "I didn't experience it and I didn't see it with my own eyes. What I know is what the Fire Phoenix told me." Hearing this, everyone gasped and their faces were full of disbelief. So not only are the Yama Lord and the others seriously injured and unconscious, but the three young masters are also missing? "Yes," Yi replied and said, "I just went to the palace to take a look. Madam is treating the master's injuries, and the others are being taken care of by the palace's doctors." He looked at Fan Lin and Chin Xin and said, "You have medical skills. It's best if you go and take a look at Lung Hua and the others. Their injuries are very serious, and I'm afraid that ordinary medicine won't be able to cure them." Take us to see them first. Fan Lin said to Ing Yi and then said to Du Fan and the others, Go and take a look at the master. Qin Xian and I will go and see Lung Hua and the others first. Du Fan thought for a moment and said, We'll go with you. Let's take a look at Lung Hua and the others first. After that, the two of you stay here. We'll go to Master's place. All right. Fan Lin looked at Ing Yi and motioned for him to lead the way, and the group hurried inside. When they arrived at where Lung Hua and the others were and saw the wounds all over their bodies, they couldn't help but feel their hearts in their mouths. In order to take care of them, Lung Hua and Hui Lang were arranged to be in the same room. There were countless wounds on their bodies, but the most fatal ones were not the visible ones on their bodies, but the invisible ones inside their bodies. The doctors in the palace have seen them and said that the visible injuries on their bodies were not fatal. What made them on the verge of death were the invisible injuries in their bodies. I have already let them take the Niden to preserve their life force. Ing Yi said, retreating to the side. Fan Lin said to Qin Xian, Go and check on Lung Xuan. Leave this to me. Okay. Qin Xian responded and went to the other room next door. The two of them had followed Fengjiu for a long time, so their medical skills were not bad. Most importantly, they had a lot of panaceas. Therefore, after checking the serious injuries in their bodies, they fed them a life-saving elixir. After checking on them, Du Fan and the others saw that Fan Lin and Qin Xian were there. They left first and went to the place where their masters were. However, when they learned that the three little masters had disappeared without a trace, their hearts were very heavy. Chapter 4395. On the other side of the palace, Fengjiu slowly retracted her hand and watched as the wound on Xianyuan Mo's chest healed at a visible speed. Only then did she let out a soft sigh and leaned against the headboard to rest. She stared blankly at Xianyuan Mo, who hadn't woken up yet. She closed her eyes to rest, and her body gradually relaxed. However, the moment she closed her eyes, she seemed to have sensed something and suddenly opened her eyes. Emo-chun, she called out, but received no response. She then flashed into the space. When she saw that the golden lotus in the spiritual spring had disappeared, she was slightly startled, then relieved. He once said that when the golden body was completed, the golden lotus and he would disappear at the same time and return to his master's side. Although she did not know what had triggered him and caused his golden body to be completed earlier, at least this was a good thing. She turned and left the space. She heard the voices of Du Fan and the others outside, so she walked out and sat down in the outer room. She poured herself a cup of water and called out, Come in. Du Fan and the others outside heard her voice and looked at each other before walking in. They pushed the door open and walked in. They saw their master sitting at the table drinking water. She had not had time to change her clothes, and she looked slightly tired. Master, we are late. They all knelt down at the same time. Get up, Fengjiu said as she put down the cup in her hand. She said, Even if you are here, what can you stop? All of this will still happen. Hearing this, they looked at each other and stood up. Master, we will definitely find the three young masters. Fengjiu did not speak. She poured another cup of water and drank slowly. No one knew what she was thinking. Seeing that she did not speak, Du Fan and the others were worried. Thus, Du Fan asked, Master, how is the Yama Lord's injury? The injury is no longer serious, but he has not woken up yet. You can go and take a look. Fengjiu said. Then let's go in and take a look at the Yama Lord. They walked inside and saw that the Yama Lord was lying on the bed. His breathing was calm and his wounds had healed. Only then did they turn around and leave. Master, you should rest first. We'll take care of the rest, Du Fan said, looking at her. All right, go ahead. Fengjiu didn't say anything else, or rather, he didn't have the strength to say anything else. Each of them was capable of handling matters. As long as they came over, they would know what to do without any instructions. Du Fan, Qi Kong, and the others retreated while Bai Qingsheng and Yi Feifei stayed behind. They saw that she hadn't changed her clothes or treated her wounds, so they prepared a bath for her. Mistress, you should take a bath first. The wounds on your body need to be treated as well. Bai Qingchang said as she looked at her worriedly. I got it. You guys can leave now. Feng Zhou said as she asked them to leave. She walked towards the big bathtub in the cubicle, took off her clothes, and sank her whole body into the water. Outside, Yi Feifei looked into the room worriedly and whispered, Is Mistress really okay? She doesn't seem to be in a good condition. Bai Qingchang sighed softly. The 3 young masters are missing. How can she be in a good condition? But don't worry too much. Mistress will adjust. Chapter 4396. The sky was gray and the sun had not risen yet. In a mortal world far away from here, in a forest deep in the mountains, Hao Mu Chun, and Mu Yu were sleeping on the grass. Because of the hazy sky and the fact that they were deep in the mountains, several gray wolves noticed the 3 of them. They bared their teeth and drooled as they approached step by step. However, they seemed to have sensed something and suddenly stopped and howled. A wolf. The wolf's howl rang out in the deep mountains and old forests, echoing in the air and dissipating with the breeze. Not long after, a wolf king leaped over and landed steadily beside the 3 children. It sniffed carefully and finally bent its front hooves and knelt down, letting out a low howl. Seeing the wolf king kneel down, the few wolves behind it also knelt down and whimpered softly. Perhaps because the wolf's howl rang in their ears, Hao was the first to regain consciousness. Lying on the grass, he opened his eyes. For a moment, there was confusion in his eyes. Hearing the wolf's howl, he quickly sat up and saw 7 or 8 wolves surrounding him. There was also a larger wolf king. At this moment, they were all kneeling on the ground and looking at him. Go away, he shouted coldly and waved a branch at the side. The wolves were shocked and quickly retreated. They quickly left and hid in the grass far away to stare at him. Seeing the wolves leave, Hao then looked at the 2 identical children lying beside him. Looking at their delicate little faces, an image seemed to flash across his mind. However, he had a splitting headache. He screamed and covered his head, not daring to think about it anymore. He sat beside them and looked at the 2 of them. Seeing that they were still unconscious and could not remember who he was, why was he here? Thus, he rummaged through the things on his body. Finally, he saw 3 words engraved on a small, delicate lock on his neck. Xinyuan Hao. That was his name? Xinyuan Hao. He whispered softly. It sounded very familiar. He thought that this should be his name. His gaze fell on the 2 little ones. He glanced at their necks and saw that there seemed to be something similar to his. So he went forward and used his fingers to take a look. Xinyuan Mukin. Xinyuan Muyue? He looked at the small words engraved on it, and then saw that the 2 of them were wearing the same thing as him. He thought for a moment and nudged them. Wake up! Hurry up and wake up. The 2 little guys slowly opened their eyes and sat up. They looked at each other and then looked at Hao in front of them with a confused expression. Do you still remember anything? Hao asked with a glimmer of hope in his eyes. The 2 little guys thought about it and shook their heads. I have a headache. Yu pouted and patted her little head. Me too, said Mu Chun. He looked at him and asked, Who are you? Who are we? Why are we here? Seeing that they were the same as him, Hao was silent for a while before saying, I can't remember either, but the little lock pieces on our necks have names, and they are all the same. I think I should be your older brother. Big brother? The 2 little fellows looked at him and called out. Yes. Hao nodded and said, I'm Xinyuan Hao. You're Xinyuan Mu Chun and Xinyuan Mu Yu. Chapter 4397. Mu Chun glanced at her. You are the younger sister. Why? Yu pouted and unhappily looked at him. You are the younger sister. Mu Chun patted her little head. Younger sister. Seeing this, Yu blinked her beautiful eyes and no longer tangled on this point, rather looking at her 2 elder brothers. With a trace of blankness in her immature voice, she asked, But what about our father and mother? Where is our home? Hao and Mu Chun fell silent, because they didn't know either. They kept feeling that some memories in their minds were missing. Whenever they tried to recall, they would have a splitting headache. The only thing they could do was to find the answer from them, but it was still difficult for them to do so at such a young age. In the end, it was the older Howard who stood up first. "Let's find the way. Follow me and don't get lost." "Yes, yes." The two little guys nodded, each holding his hand. After watching the three of them leave, the Wolf King, who was hiding in the distance, finally walked out. It looked at the three of them leaving, thought for a moment, and quietly followed them from a distance. After all, they were only 3 children. It was not easy to get out of the deep forest. They walked around for a whole day and still could not find the way out. Instead, they found a cave where they could rest. The sky outside gradually darkened. The 3 children huddled in the cave and looked at the dark place. Yu tightly grabbed Hao-er's clothes. "Brother, Yu-er is scared." Although Mu-chan did not say anything, his body shrank closer to Hao-er. "Don't be afraid. I will protect you. With me here, it will be fine." He hugged the two of them and hugged them to his side. Looking at the darkening sky outside, his eyes were filled with worry. "But it's so dark." Yu-er is afraid of the dark. She huddled in his arms and whispered, "Afraid of the dark?" Something seemed to flash through Hao-er's mind. He suddenly stopped and looked at his hand. He saw a black ring on his finger. He had tried to take it off in the morning, but he couldn't take it off. However, the thing that flashed through his mind made him stunned for a moment. "I seem to have thought of something." As he spoke, he touched the ring on his finger and suddenly said, "Night Pearl." As soon as he finished speaking, a fist-sized bead appeared in his hand. Looking at the luminous night bead that suddenly appeared, the 3 children were stunned, their faces full of astonishment. "Big brother, how did you come out?" Yu-er curiously asked, and looked at him with a novel expression. "I don't know. I just felt that there was something that could light up the place. I shouted and it came out." Hao-er was also taken aback. However, as he looked at the luminous pearl, some images flashed across his mind. The luminous pearl in his hand fell to the ground as he hugged his head tightly. It hurts. It hurts. Big brother, big brother." The 2 little fellows panicked when they saw this. They called out to him, and their voices were tinged with tears. Outside, the Wolf King, who had been following them for a day, threw a pheasant into the cave with its mouth. Seeing the 3 human children in a mess, it wanted to go forward, but it saw the little boy pick up a stone and throw it at it. "Go away! Go away! Don't come in! Go away!" Chapter 4398. The Wolf King, who had wanted to go in to take a look, helplessly stopped in its tracks. It only pushed the dead pheasant inside before retreating to stand guard outside the cave. Inside, however, it was in so much pain that cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. He could not hear Mu-chun and Mu-yu's voices. He hugged his head with both hands and cried out in pain. He could only feel the pain in his head as if it was about to explode. He screamed in pain, the veins on his neck bulging. His whole person seemed to be in extreme pain. Big brother, it doesn't hurt. Yu-er will hug you." "It doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt." Yu-er cried like a kitten, but still clumsily stretched out her small hands to hug the struggling Howard tightly. Mu-chan also hugged him tightly, afraid that he would kick and hurt his head. The 2 little guys had never encountered such a situation and did not know what to do. They could only hug their brother and call out to him until he fainted after a long time. "Brother, big brother has fainted." Yu-er wiped away the tears on her face and looked at Hao-er's pale and sweaty face under the illumination of a night pearl. It's okay. He'll be fine in a while," Mu-chan said as he supported Hao-er's head with one hand and let his head rest on his thigh. He said to Yu-er, "Sister, go get the water in the corner." "Okay," Yu-er responded and quickly got up. She ran to the corner and brought the water she brought back from outside to her 2 brothers. The water was in a bamboo tube, cut from the bamboo, with a dagger tied to Hao-er's leg. The 2 little guys carefully fed him some water and sat by his side to watch him. "Brother, when will big brother wake up?" Yu-er held the night pearl in her hand and looked helplessly at Mu-chun with her beautiful eyes. "I don't know either." Mu-chan said and thought for a while, then said, maybe Big Brother will wake up after sleeping. Hearing this, Yor did not speak again. Instead, she looked at the unconscious Hao and then at the dead pheasant that was thrown in by the wolf. Even if they wanted to eat it, they didn't know how. Therefore, even if the dead pheasant was placed in front of them, the two little guys couldn't do anything. Perhaps it was because they were really tired from the day. As they sat there, they fell asleep. The next morning, before they woke up, Hao, who was resting his head on Mu-chen's calf, slowly opened his eyes. At this moment, there was no confusion in his eyes, only a calm light that was different from other children his age. As he slept, he looked at the two little faces beside him and was startled. He hurriedly sat up and looked at the two little fellows who were covered in dirt and sleeping soundly against the wall. He could not help but feel a tug in his heart. Father, mothered in deep sleep, Yor murmured. This made Hao, who was about to stand up, pause for a moment as he recalled those scenes in his mind. No, father, mother. Yor cried out in alarm and jumped up. Opening her eyes, she saw Hao was standing in front of her. Seeing that he had already woken up, she happily threw herself forward. Big Brother, you're awake? Are you feeling better? Does your head still hurt? The little one hugged him tightly and asked several questions in a row. Chapter 4399. Without their parents by their side, their older brother had become their pillar of support. The two were very dependent on him. Hao hugged Yor and gently patted her back, comforting her. It's okay, I'm fine. Don't worry. But you scared us to death last night. Yor and Big Brother kept calling you, but you didn't hear. Yor saw that the veins on your neck were bulging, as if you were in pain. Yor pouted, and her eyes were slightly red. It's okay. Big Brother is fine. It's my fault for making you worry. As he spoke, he looked at the two of them and hesitated for a moment before saying, Little brother, little sister, I just remembered something. The two little guys widened their eyes. Big Brother remembered? Why did Big Brother remember, but we didn't? Hao held Yor's hand and sat down. He looked at the two and said, I guess it's because of our bloodline. My bloodline is different from yours. How is it different? Aren't you our brother? The two little guys asked, puzzled. I was adopted by father and mother. You two are biological, so your bloodline is naturally different. Hao continued. As for the other reasons, I don't know. Moreover, I only remembered some things, but I didn't remember everything. Then, who are our parents? Were they? Mu-chen hurriedly asked. Hao glanced at him, shook his head, and said, I don't know. I can't remember. I only know that our parents were very powerful, but I can't remember their faces or their names. However, I know that they taught me how to read, write, and cultivate. Hao was slightly startled as he spoke. Scenes flashed through his mind. Those gentle and loving voices were very clear in his memory, but when he wanted to see their faces clearly, he couldn't see anything. Then what should we do? Are we unable to find our way home? Father and mother will be worried if they can't find us. Yor's soft voice carried a trace of helplessness, looking pitiful. It's okay. Big Brother will protect you. Big Brother will bring you home. Hao held their hands with a serious expression on his little face. I will definitely remember everything. There were some things that he didn't tell them. It was the last part of his memory. That demon lord had sent them into an ancient blood curse array. Those vicious words were still echoing in his ears. He thought that the reason why Chun and you didn't want to come must be because they were his parents' flesh and blood. The blood curse had sealed their memories, making them unable to remember. Moreover, in his memory, they were able to cultivate, but from the moment he woke up, he discovered that the spiritual power in his body was extremely weak, and he couldn't find a trace of Chun and Yor. He did not know what had caused this, but at the very least, he could still sense the aura of spiritual energy. That was enough because in that spatial ring, there were things that could be used to contact their parents, as well as many life-saving things that his mother had given him. Chapter 4400. Here, eat a fruit. He handed the fruit to each of them. The two little guys looked at him, taking out a few fruits from that dusty ring, and couldn't help but widen their eyes in curiosity. Muchin looked at the ring on his finger and asked, "Big brother, do I also have fruits in this ring?" How? Glanced at his space ring. Perhaps because his spiritual power was sealed, his space ring was also dusty without the slightest luster. The difference was that his ring still had a trace of spiritual power, while Muchin's was completely undetectable. Your spiritual power should be sealed. As long as you unseal it, you can also take things out from the space ring. Howard explained. Then what about me? Ewer quickly asked, why don't I have it? Yours is here. He pointed to an inconspicuous small bracelet on her wrist and said, your things are all in here. You have to remember, you can't lose anything on your body. Those are all given to us by our parents. Also, the space ring and space bracelet, you can't tell anyone about them. This morning, Her told them a lot of things and also taught them a lot of things. When he heard their stomachs growling, he said, let's stay here like this for now. Wait for me to cultivate for a few days and increase my strength a little, then I'll take you out. Okay. The two little guys nodded in agreement. Big brother, last night that wolf brought that dead chicken here. Ewer pointed to the already stiff chicken at the entrance of the cave and whispered, Ewer wants to eat meat, but Ewer doesn't know how to cook. She lowered her head and played with the corner of her clothes with her little fingers. How? Her thought for a while and gritted his teeth. Let me try. Hearing this, the two little guys' eyes lit up. Big brother knows how to cook? I've seen mother cook and also eaten her roast chicken. It's very delicious. Howard revealed a smile and immediately brought them outside. Once they were outside, even if the wolves were hiding in the dark, Howard could still detect them at a glance. He looked at the pheasants that had already stiffened at the entrance of the cave, and then at the wolves that were hiding. He thought for a while and said, catch me 2 more pheasants. Fearing that the wolves wouldn't understand him, he walked to the entrance of the cave and waved the stubborn pheasant. This one. When the two little fellows heard his words, they couldn't help but look at each other. Just as they were puzzled, they heard rustling sounds coming from the forest. Then, a few wolves scurried away. Not long after, they came back with 2 freshly killed pheasants. Big brother, how come those wolves listened to your words? Ewer curiously asked. Howard smiled and said, my contracted beast is a silver wolf. They must have sensed the aura of the wolf king on me. All right, let's go pick up the branches. He took the 2 little fellows to pick up some branches in the surroundings. When the wolves saw them picking up branches, they also helped them to bite some branches. How? Cleaned the 2 pheasants at the water source he found yesterday and directly skinned them. He then carried them back and roasted them. However, he didn't do this kind of thing often, so the 2 pheasants were roasted black. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.